Nigeria is the highest producer of egg in Africa. We produce the highest number of egg. But if we look at it per capita, we consume one of the least. If you calculate it on our population, you know that I think it's around 60 something, 70 something egg per year, if I'm not mistaken. And if you work that against what South Africa consumes, you see that there's a huge gap. So we've not been doing very well on per capita. But that's not why we're here. Why we're here is that how can we do more? For us to do more, we need more number of farmers to produce intensively and produce efficiently. The agricultural area in Lagos, where people are doing most poultry, is the Ikorodu and Epe axis. So the farmers there, who are they? What are they doing? The feed they are using, at what cost is that thing coming to them? The working capital, if you look at the price of feed, in the last 1 year, the price of feed has been more than double. So anybody that is using, let me say, 5 million naira to do business 1 year, 2 years ago, if the person has not had access to finance, the person can only do half of what that person is doing now. So what can we do to help those people in terms of feed? So when the people produce and there is glut, what can we do to help the farmers? Farmers.
Sorry, I may have to pause you there. Because this is the kitchen cabinet. Is there really glut or access to markets? Because we have the PS and the directors here, they will make things happen after. So is there really glut or access to markets?
So this is how, with our own observation, what we've observed over the years, this is how it goes. Nigeria is a special country, and we need to work with how our environment operates. Nigerian environment, when the guinea fowl in the north, when they lay, the northerners that consume, I don't have the statistics, but a significant portion of the egg we produce in the west go to the north. So once the northerners are not taking chicken egg, that season there will be glut in our area here because we are the one producing. So there is always it may not be more than 2 months, sometimes less than 1 month, but there are periods of the year when there will be glut. And farmers always find it difficult to sell during that season. But the problem is that you can see that people are now saying that why don't we have egg powder plants? Why don't you have? So another issue we have in Nigeria is that you cannot establish a plant and focus that plant on glut, because your plant have to operate. And if you see several egg processing, egg powder plant that people are creating, you see them complaining that we actually don't have inputs, because the input, people that have established tomato, you can see that when tomato is surplus in Nigeria, people will be crying, farmers will be crying that, oh, we have glut. But how long will that glut last? So if somebody establish a tomato processing plant because of that glut, would that person, with the 2 months or 1 month when we have glut, will it be sufficient to satisfy what that processing line? Now, there's nobody that will be manufacturing tomato now that can compete with open market in purchase. The price of a basket of tomato in my 12 market, a person that establishes his own processing plant to process tomato cannot compete with that price. So what we need to do is that in that short period, when we have glut for various agricultural outputs, what can we do to cushion the effect on the farmer during that period?
Okay, thank you. So I'll come to animal care because Lagos is known for poultry, catfish, fishery, and poultry. Those are 2 key strong areas for Lagos State. And when it comes to concentration, Lagos has a well-established concentration of these 2 value chains. How can Lagos be egg secure? We've not moved into poultry, but egg. How can Lagos be egg secure?
All right, thank you so much. I'm Dr. Adewale Adewoyin, representing Dr. Okwe Agbato of animal care. Nigeria today has a population of about 240 million people. And 70% of that population, that's about 170 million, are farmers, directly or indirectly, in one way or the other. Either backyard farmers, poultry farmers, backyard broiler farmers, and fish farmers, in one way or the other. These 170 people that are farmers, 80% of this population are smallholder farmers. When we talk about food security, this is one of the mostly spoken about topic, almost in the last 2 decades. But I believe, obviously, if we are getting results, we will not sit down and talk about it again. Possibly, we'll probably sit down and celebrate. But because we're not getting the result, that's why we are still talking about it today. Food security. Number one issue that we identify is the generational gap. Our fathers that used to go to the farm and do most of this farming work are perhaps aged now. And the replacement for them, for that generation, is not coming at that same rate. Most of our young people today either want to do one white-collar job or another, or at worst, travel out of the country. And the approach we are giving to it is to probably identify school leavers, graduates, that we can lock up together in a room, teach them how to fish, teach them how to raise birds, teach them egg production. The question is, has it ever worked? No. The answer is no. You cannot learn how to ride a bicycle by reading a book. Agribusiness, agriculture is the most unique, is the outlier of all profession. And the first qualification that you can bring to it is not just your academic qualification. It's not even your experience, but what? But passion. If you're not passionate about it, we cannot make any money out of it. Now, talking about securing egg production or food production in Lagos State, the smallholder farmers that are 70% requires empowerment and strengthening and focused attention. But that is what is being deprived. If you look at a lot of intervention, foreign interventions, local interventions, domestic interventions, federal government intervention in agribusiness, in the past one decade thereabout, you and I, we agree that it's quite enormous. But the question is, those interventions, do they get to the real farmers? We all know the answers. When you sit down to say, farmers, we want to give intervention, we want to support you, we want to give you intervention, please come to the local government, we want to take your data, we want to do your biometrics. The real farmers, do you think they will leave their farms, enter bus, and go to the local government to for biometrics? The answer is no. Real farmers will not do it. That is why we have political farmers, administrative farmers, and academic farmers. Money goes into them. That is why we are not seeing the impact. Look at the amount of money that has been pumped into this sector. When AFDB talk about the $1 billion that goes as intervention, MasterCard Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, Bill and Melinda Foundation, IIT, CRIM, federal government, all manners of funding goes into this sector. Are we getting the result? No. This year only, one of the players in our industry, imported over 100 metric tons of maize into Nigeria in just less than 6 months. Only one person. Whereas there are consortiums of other foreign players, the Chinese, the Indian, the Lebanese, that have formed consortium to import maize for us to feed our birds. Is that the right direction? No. We are our own maize. If we have been investing the money and we are getting results, we have to resort to importation? No. Now, this year that we are talking about, poultry industry have entered the serious crisis since February. And a lot of the smallholder farmers, who are 70% of the players, all of them sold their birds because they could not feed their birds. Every year we are supposed to have egg clots. This year, did we have any egg clots? No. When children go on vacation in July, usually, July, August, September, usually have egg gluts. Nobody to buy it. This year, did we experience any glut? A crate of egg, as I'm talking to you, is about 5,000 naira. A lot of those farmers that are feeding us, they do not have that capacity any longer. And this is, let 1 minute please, and this is traceable to some of the economic, I can call transformation, economic changes that suddenly crept on us that we did not respond to immediately. Devaluation of Naira, deregulation. My brother, Mr. Alaba, spoke about working capital. If you require 1 million naira to feed your birds in January this year, as I'm talking to you, you require 4 million naira to feed, or 5 million to feed your birds. How many farmers can afford it? This is where I believe government needs to be responsive and intervene at that point. And we work in an industry that is so unique that it answers to what we call variability, seasonality, and it has no peculiarity. You can't treat it the way you treat any other industry. If you don't respond at the point of response because of the seasonality of our cycle, you will, once you miss that season, you miss it throughout the whole year. So that's one of the things that I feel has happened.
So I thank you for the way you've spoken passionately. But I also want to, because I want us to be very real here. Okay? Being real, the average farmer is a businessman. He's supposed to be a businessman. Let me change it. Supposed to. Now, fuel did not go up suddenly. We knew since January last year. Okay? Yes? Am I right? There's been an announcement that is not in the budget, it's not in the budget, not in the budget. I'm saying also, is the average farmer planning? Because that's very crucial. There's the government side, there's the farmer side. The farmer is doing a business. The private sector, they are also doing business. Is the 70% of the farmers, are they planning? Because some always get intervention. And in fact, when you get intervention once, it's supposed to take you to a level where you should not be needing another one if you utilize it properly. So are the farmers also planning, seeing themselves doing business? Very crucial.
Thank you very, very much. Don't forget, what we are discussing here is food security. We want to have food in abundance. And remember that there's a layer to it. The first layer is agriculture. And the second layer is agribusiness. 70% of the farmers that are smallholder farmers, they are poor, and there is a paradigm, there is a social development paradigm in it. Yoruba people believe that if the problem of hunger is solved, the problem is solved. And the paradigm also is, if 70% of Nigerian population, the 170 million people, can feed themselves and feed their family, the world food insecurity problem in Nigeria is partially solved. But today, that is not the case. Farmers, if they can feed themselves, feed their family, it is the leftover that goes into agribusiness in one way or the other.
Yeah.
So if we are not able to feed ourselves, if 70% is able to feed themselves and the family, the food security we are talking about will be partially and reasonably solved.
Okay. So before I go to another person, the question is how? How? There's a, you've spoken about, how would Lagos be egg secure? I know as at, I think about 2009 ago, Animal Care was doing 97% egg production then. If Animal Care is doing 97%, how can we get the farmers also? Because I don't want us to look at what we don't have. Let's focus on what we have. The farmers have poultry, okay? Before the crisis and even during the challenge now, if they are producing at 97% capacity, there will be productivity. When there's productivity, there will be profitability. But when you are producing at 75%, you cannot be making the profit that someone is making at 97%. You are not using robots to feed your chicken. It's human being. So what should the farmers be doing also to be able to get the 97% so that they can also take responsibility?
Thank you so much. For the farmers, number one, government has a role to play.
Is government helping animal care?
Animal care is a private sector. What food security problem is a social development problem? And when you travel, when you go abroad,
what should government be doing?
Government, number one, creating the enabling business environment. That's number one. Number two, government needs to intervene at the right time to encourage the farmer to remain in business.
What kind of intervention?
Financial intervention, that is number one. Number two is training and capacity building. It's not a matter of locking up farmers in a symposium, in a seminar, in a room to train them how to. No. What is missing is agribusiness coaching. Give us
that's mentoring.
Mentoring. You get it? You know, the era of using agricultural extension that we sit down in their bedroom and be using Google to understand what is happening in the farm. It's gone. You know, we need to go back to the agribusiness coaching wherein we have access.
We'll come back, and I'm also going to commit you. I'm a private sector. I don't work with government, okay? And I'm going to commit you. One of the things I would want us, taking responsibility is very crucial. It's something I do. I don't blame government for anything. Government is government. If government is giving out 1 million to all the farmers, it should not be enough. Resource management. Let the governor decide we're going to give 1 million to the farmers. 3 months down the line, the farmers will be broke again. We've seen government setting up poultry, giving them huge amounts of money. And when they run the business down, giving them accommodation, 2-bedroom flats, giving them everything. Leave your house, go to farm. 1 year after, they say they are broke and they are not married. Yeah. There was a video online that I went on radio to say, this madam is a scam. I know what they gave you. And I challenged the person. So what I'm saying is taking responsibility. Food security is not solely for government. It's not solely for private sector. It's for all of us. So I'll still come back to you. In terms of fish, Lagos has the comparative advantage for fish farming in terms of potentials. How can we, not government? So right now, government is listening to how can we ensure that we leverage the potentials available in fish value chain, not just production, fish value chain. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'll start by making a few illustrations. Resource utilization is about the most important thing. What Lagos is having in terms of aquatic resources, some nations of the world don't have it. Mind you, I said what Lagos is having, not what Nigeria is having. Some nations of the world, they don't have it. What do you need to do fish? Water. What kinds of water? 3 kinds of water. Fresh water, brackish water, and salt water, which is the marine. We have it in abundance in Lagos. World over, we have over 500 species of aquatic lives that are cultured. Now we have just catfish and tilapia that we do at commercial rate. That means there's still a lot of work to be done. That means we need to look at research development. We need to do diversification. We need to see how we make the sector more robust than it is. Now, if you don't utilize what you have, it goes bad. There's a saying that if you don't start thinking, you won't stop thinking. Do you understand? I'm going to make a very funny illustration now. I'm not very comfortable while I'm sitting here. Why? Because if you look at my shoes, it got bad on my way coming. And why did it get bad? I had these shoes at home for several months. I didn't use it.
I left it there. I didn't use it. And this morning I just said, okay, let me even launch this thing and look more yuppie, and let me step out now. I just picked it up, and it's good to listen to women. Oh. And my wife was like, Serge, this thing has rope. Why not wear another shoe now? I said, no, we are changing the dress sense, this thing. I'll put on this, I'll put on the Serge farm cap, and let me just step out. And I didn't come with my private car. I just got to my shoe. I got down and just saw my shoes. Clearly, I said, I won't tell my wife. What I'll do is, I'll look for a boutique around, buy another shoes. Oh. Then when I get home, I'll just go and keep this thing gingerly somewhere. And maybe after a week, I'll now tell her what happened so that she won't quiz me so much. So, but because I did not make use of these shoes, it got bad. The same way our resources are there that we are not making use of. So they are just lying fallow. So we need to start looking inwards. We have all it takes to feed ourselves. There's a Yoruba saying that, see, ebiba tonu ishe bushe. Yeah, we can do much with aquaculture, with fish, and still sell to other people, and we have abundance. We need rapid response to solutions, to challenges. There's no problem, there's no challenge that doesn't have solution. And this is the kind of conversation we should be having more often now, because it's about food. It's about food security. Once food security is taken care of, other forms of security automatically will be taken care of. Now, we had a program. Okay, two things. During COVID, everybody was scared that there's going to be famine, there's going to be hunger and everything. So some of us took up that challenge, said that, okay, I called most of my staff, my students, that, you know what, at least let's do something. So we went into crops. We did rice, we did vegetables, we did all of those things. And what we realized within is to do rice, reciproculture. And it was effortlessly, it came out so well. I said, okay, it's because we did not take this agric thing seriously. Me, I like doing a lot of experiment research. I wasn't after the money, but I saw that it was doable. We could produce so much and much more for others. I left it. I went back to my fish thing. Afterwards, this tomato scarcity too came. My wife would buy tomatoes at times and I would be like, hey, she said 3,000, 4,000, and it won't be enough. And I said, you know what? I think let's do tomatoes now. So I started integrating the farm. I said I'll use the fish water to start growing tomatoes, to start growing rice, because I've done it before, so it's doable. And I can tell you now, every 2 days, we harvest like 2 baskets full of tomatoes from a fish farm. Now tomato is cheap. If you go everywhere, you see tomatoes everywhere. Just to tell you that we can solve this hunger problem if all our hands are on deck and we work in synergy with the government as we should. So really, there is not much problem. And finally too, the only thing I think we need to do to solve the challenges that we have in the aquaculture sector is to do much with the marketing end of the value chain. There is glut that if I ask all of you here today, how many of you have eaten catfish in the last 1 week, or tilapia in the last 1 week? I'm sure you are not up to 10%. Do you understand? So that's to tell you that there's something we need to do that we are not doing yet. The catfish is famous but not popular. So we need to begin to look inwards and patronize our own thing. Finally, sir, the other thing is, how many of us, when we have events, event, you go and buy cow. I'm not saying cow is not good. You are a fish farmer and you spend about 80% or 90% of your money. You have party and you buy other protein sources and you are not even patronizing what you're doing. I was at 3 events recently, one organized by the Federal Ministry of Federal Department of Fisheries. They had a big event and there was no fish on the menu. And I asked, what do you have on the menu? No fish. We had another event by the Blue Economy Ministry at Eco Hotel recently. And there was no tilapia, there was no catfish. I said, wow. We had another event at Unilag. All the professors of fisheries, everybody, our PS was there. And I was one of the panelists too. So at the point while they were serving, I said, hold on, what do you have on that menu? There was no fish there. And once the marketing end of the value chain is taken care of, it's going to drive production down the line. And I think that is what we need to do. Thank you.
Okay, so first thing first, I just want to ask, are you confirming that crop is better than livestock?
What is better than livestock?
Crop, tomato, rice is better than livestock. Are you confirming that publicly?
There has to be a balance.
You said
there has to be a balance.
You said you were using water to grow tomato and food. So it's looking like tomato is better than.
Yes, so that there won't be any wastage.
Okay.
I'm talking about resource utilization, so that there won't be any wastage. So, like the poultry dung is what we use to grow plants. Okay. So I'm telling you now that even the fish water can be used to grow so much that you can make more profit from the fish farm.
Okay.
Thank you.
But we are beginning to have soft spot for crops.
Then a balancer.
So I'll go to mile 12, and I would link something that I've seen that everybody has said for the next conversation. Mile 12. When we hear mile 12, it's good and bad. And so this is how do we make the conversation permanently good? In terms of what can mile 12 do as a body to collaborate with government to ensure food security? And why am I asking this question? Mile 12 already has established routes, established networks from various states of the nation. And yet, food should be the cheapest in Lagos. And I'll say this why. There was a time I was doing some farming operations in Owiwi in Ogun State, growing cucumbers. They were selling cucumber per bag, 3,500 in Abeokuta. But in mile 12, they were selling 2,000. Because everybody was shipping their cucumber to mile 12. I always do market research before I even plant. And so we were selling, we now decided, instead of planting like 10 acres, 20 acres, we now decided to be planting 2 acre, 2 acre, 2 acre, 2 acre, so that we can sell to Abeokuta market and become more profitable. So why is it also that food is cheaper in mile 12, but outside mile 12 is expensive? How can we make food cheaper with the collaboration with mile 12?
Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to exhibit and said what will make Lagos better in terms of food security. Yes, mile 12 is the biggest perishable market, not in Nigeria, but in West Africa. And of course, the reason why things will be more cheaper in mile 12 is because people bring from various quotas, from Bauchi, from Benin Republic, from Cameroon, from everywhere. They bring it to mile 12 market to sell. And of course, mile 12 market doesn't determine what food price is in Lagos. What determines is the demand of people. You can bring lesser tomato in mile 12 and it will be expensive. If you bring abundant tomato in Mile 12, it also be cheap. Now, for those who are buying tomatoes from Mile 12, why it's more expensive, for instance, in Mushin axis or Ekpe axis than within Mile 12 is because people in Mile 12, people who come to Mile 12 to buy, don't forget that they don't use water in their cars or lorries. You have to pay Alabaru, the laborer who will take from the market to the bus stop. You also have to pay transport from Mile 12 to Mushin. You understand me? So all those things also play a part in making it expensive. What really matters is for them to bring the price down. The woman will expect to make 5,000 naira in a basket, and that will make her to delay in selling. We also do analysis of that. That if you buy a tomato in Mile 12, for instance, at the rate of 12,000 naira, if you sell it at the rate of maybe 16,000 naira, if you take away transport, whatever, you make like 2,500 out of it. But some women won't stop at that. They will add more money to it. When you ask them why, they will say their widow, husband, their children are in school, they pay house rent, they pay bills. Those are also part of it. But to gather everything, what really matters most is for people to engage in farming so that we have more farmers. Now, what makes it more difficult even this year? You can imagine somebody who is in the bush. You know, this farmer we're talking about, they're very poor. Some has 1 acre, some have 2 acres, some have 3 acres. It depends on what they have in their farm. Now, the bandit will go to the farm, kill, maim, and destroy the farm in anticipation for what? So it means if we're having 1,500 farmers in the north or even across the country, because in the north we have more farmers than in the south. Let's assume in the whole country we have, say, 2,000 farmers. I can tell you now that we have less than 1,000 farmers who are practical farmers now because they've been chased away by bandits. A lot of things happening to them. So for Lagos, we have a commissioner who, to me, she's arguably the best commissioner in the history of Lagos State. She's the best. And we are optimistic that by the special grace of God, she will one day become the federal minister of agri in Federal Republic of Nigeria because she is performing very, very well. If all commissioners are like her, putting all effort, doing all sorts of things to make sure that things grow, a lot of things will change in the country. Most of these commissioners, I can tell you, many of these commissioners, she's the best commissioner in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I can tell you, I know many commissioners that I've worked with, that are together with them, but they don't put more effort like she did. So to me, what Lagos needs to do, because of the way Lagos leads, because of the way Lagos handle their things, I think it is better to engage more universities. The agricultural students should involve fully in more practical farming than theory. When they are in the farm, let's assume in 5 days, they have 3 days for practical, 2 days for theory, and with engagement of government, support of fertilizer, support of other things that really matter, you see before they graduate, they will have something to do. They will engage in farming, and farming will be their business. Unlike what you said, that we have older farmer who doesn't have children that inherit them. I have that case, for instance, we have tomato that come from Edo State, Benin. When Bendel tomato comes, it lasted for good 6 months. 6 months. They will bombard Mile 12 market. In fact, it's got to be a kind of competition between Bendel tomato and that of Benin Republic tomato. They are contesting. But now, that tomato from Benin Republic has overshadowed that of Benin Republic, and that's Edo State. Why? Because those old farmers who are bringing trucks and trucks of tomato from Edo, most of them are old, some are died, and their children cannot continue that business. They've traveled to Italy, some have gone to Germany, some have gone and they leave the country in shadow. So those are the two we need to consider. Lagos State government need to provide a bigger land. Most of these places they are building houses. I don't think it's necessary, honestly, building houses. What really matters is to provide a land, provide students to be in those farms, also get professionals to teach them how to farm, and I believe Lagos will fly better.
Now, I used to grow watermelons 2008, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and bombard my 12. 20 bottles, 15 bottles a day, and we will sell out. But there was a particular year that one ex-president produced watermelon. And that year, 180,000 became 25,000. 17,000 to transport the tomato to Lagos, 5,000 for the people that will load. So what is left out of the amount? And instead of the watermelon had almost rotted away 80 acres with irrigation, we now decided to move the remaining. Instead of taking to Mount 12, we now took to Ikeja. We took to around the Central Mosque. We moved to Surulere. We moved to town. And what we found out that we sold those watermelon double the price of people Mount 12. It was the people that determined the price, not even us, the size. But we had lost like 90%. Now, my question is going that, will Lagos be more food secure if we have other markets directly feeding from Mount 12? Because I found out that when there's no space for trucks again, the prices begin to go down. Can there be various points such that instead of the trailers coming to Mount 12, they can move into local governments so that it becomes cheaper? Is that a possibility?
No, already existing already. There are a lot of markets in Lagos now that items come from the north straight to those markets, like Lekki, like Okodo, like Ikorodu. There are a lot of markets like that that have many buses that bring tomatoes, that brings several items to those markets. You see, even as I was saying now, Lagos still get cheapest food than any other state in the country because of the numbers of goods we bring. Tomato is more cheaper in Lagos than even in Kano. I can tell you that. One day, when we are selling tomato here at the rate of 50,000 naira, in Kano is about 70,000 naira. Because people bring from various, Lagos is a bigger market. Mount 12 is the biggest market. So the brand Mount 12, everybody want to like bring his market, tomatoes or whatever items to Mount 12. That's why it make it cheaper. So I can tell you, in Lagos, we still get cheaper things than other states. But to put more effort is engaging the student to be in the farm.
I want you to confirm this because I prefer to always bring out the opportunities in adversity. So do you confirm that tomato is still coming from Benin Republic, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana? Do you confirm that?
Now, these items are seasonal.
But you confirm that?
No, they are coming.
Okay.
Right now, we are using tomato from Benin Republic and Ghana. Right now, it's a seasonal stuff. January, February, March, April, May, June. That's when you have tomato from the north for 6 months, consistently from various states, Katsina, Kano, everywhere. And you see, something about tomato is you cannot hold it. Once tomato is ripe, it's either you bring it to the farm or you let it perish. So it comes at will. That will finish for 6 months. Then we have tomato from Odoba, we have from Ilaro, we have from Abeokuta, saying all those tomatoes will start coming. But this year, it's not as much as expected because of, I think they have issues. They have issues, that's why. It used to come too. So when that one's come, before the northern start coming again, the Cotonou own, Benin Republic and Ghana will start coming. Right now in the market, we have more quality tomato from Benin Republic and Ghana because their tomato is more qualitative than all our seeds in Nigeria because we don't have much seeds. These are the issue we're also telling the federal government that we don't expect foreigners to bring tomato that's more quality than that of Nigeria. So there is need for government to also put more effort because we are more of government support than the farmers. I can see from what you are saying.
No, I'm trying to balance it. So I operate a social enterprise business, which is profit and impact. It must be 50-50. Private limited liability is profit. NGO is not profit, is impact. For government, is impact. I do both. And so for me, it's when you sit on the fence, you are neither government nor private sector. Now, so what you're saying, and I want us to, as Lagos, to understand that if tomatoes is still coming into Lagos profitably from Ghana, from Benin, from sometimes Burkina Faso, and it is still profitable from Burkina Faso by road, from Ghana by road, it means that we can also train people in Lagos, take them to areas in Nigeria that can produce those tomatoes and bring them to Lagos, right? Yeah. So because what we should be doing is looking at new models that will work. I used to produce tomato. We will now package it like Ghana. We produce in Ekiti. We now put it in that four corner box and bring it and sell in mile 12. But it's from Ekiti. And it's the most expensive in the market. So what I'm saying is that it's not everything. Lagos food security does not mean that we should produce everything in Lagos. But we can train some people, take them out like the Indians, such that at that gaps, they begin to target it and bring it in. That is strategy. And so it's not just for us to talk today, it's for us to take from what has been said. I'm sure many of us, how many people is just hearing for the first time that tomato come from like 4 West African countries? Quite a lot of people. So do you have to farm in Lagos to be profitable? Can you plant tomato to target the off-season and bring it and also sell responsibly? Meaning you're not taking advantage. While you plant sweet potato at a different period,